Do you ever feel like you want to just sit down with your girlfriends, chat about some new makeup, and talk about what's been going on in your life? Well, that's where I am right now. I've had some new products that I've had on my desk waiting to be tested, and rather than doing a dedicated video for each one of them, I thought I'd just throw them all together, put them on my face, and share some things that have been going on with me. If that sounds like a good time to you, then grab a snack and a drink and kick back and let's get into it. Or grab your makeup and let's get ready together. I really wish this could be a back and forth and that you were actually sitting across the table from me. But since we can't do that, down in the comments, share a story with me of something that happened in your life. It can be something amazing, something you're struggling with, an ordinary part of your day, or something you need prayer for. I really want to get to know you better, and the comment section is where we can make that happen. I read something recently. It was in the comment section of a video. I don't remember whose it was or who said it, and I apologize for that. But the comment was, community is built one heart at a time. And I love that. We are a community here. And whether you're new or you've been here since June of 2021, you are all important to me. And I'm glad you're here. The first thing I'm going to do is to put something on my lips so that they can be being hydrated and plumped while I'm doing the rest of my face. And I'm going to use the City Lips Plumping Lip Gloss in Clear. This lives on my vanity and I use it almost every day. It does have a bit of a plumping feel, but it's not uncomfortable or tingly or burning or anything like that, and it has a little bit of a minty smell. I'm not going to use a face primer today, but I am going to use one of my very favorite products, and that is the Wet n Wild Cooling Hydra Depuffer. I use this every single time I put my makeup on, and I just kind of rub it under my eyes. Oh, I got choke off on that one. And then I just take my fingers and kind of tap it in. I just feel that this has made the hugest difference in how my under eyes look and feel. They feel hydrated, and it just helps my concealer to lay more smoothly, to not crease. I don't know, this little $5 stick, I don't often say makeup is game-changing or anything like that, but I think this one is. My friend Cindy over at Beyond 50 Skin collected several of her PR products that are good for oily combo skin because she has very dry skin, and she sent me a few products. And one of the ones that was in there is this IT Cosmetics CC Plus Natural Matte Foundation. It claims to be color correcting, pore refining, full coverage cream, and it also says that it has a skin balancing serum, plus it has an SPF of 40. This is the shade Fair, and it is created specifically for oily and combo skin. I know that a lot of people compare the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream to the IT Cosmetics CC Cream. I cannot use the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream. It falls off my face in about 4 hours. And so I was never tempted to try the IT Cosmetics CC Cream because I felt like it was probably going to do the same thing. But this I'm very curious about. It does claim that it has a built-in primer and that it will give you cloud skin. So I am not going to prime my face and see how it works out. Put a pump on my makeup palette, and I'm just going to dab this on with my fingers. And then, what did I do with my brush? And then I want to use a brush to kind of blend it in, and probably a sponge to finish the blend. But I want to see what kind of coverage it gives me with a brush. Actually, I think I'll do a brush on one side and a sponge completely on the other. That will give a better comparison. I really do think the shade is pretty good. Anyway, what I started to say was, I have a rare Saturday at home. That's pretty rare recently. But the other rare thing is that I'm in my house all by myself. So I'm planning on filming a couple of videos this afternoon. But since I needed to get ready anyway, I thought I'd start with this one. Okay, so that's blended in. I'm going to take a quick peek in my 10X mirror. I think it looks pretty nice. I don't feel like it's gathered. It does look a little weird right here. I don't know if I just have some dryness there or what, but it almost looks a little orange peel texture, which is an odd place for me to have texture. Maybe I just need a little bit more right there. And I'll stipple it in instead of swiping. Let me see if that helped. No, it really didn't. It kind of made it worse. But sometimes with a matte foundation, it does kind of need a little time for your oils to kind of settle it down. So I'm not going to make any judgments right now. On the other side, I'm going to use a damp beauty sponge to blend it in. You do kind of have to work fairly quickly with this. It is a thicker cream, so I wouldn't recommend putting it all over your face and then blending, but to do sections seems to be the better way to go. I actually need just a little bit more. One pump wasn't quite enough. I want to put a little more right there. And it didn't quite get down to my jawline. Or my chin. And I think I brushed the microphone, so I apologize if I did. All right, I have to say we're not starting off really great with this foundation. Do you see in here? You probably won't be able to see it, but I've got like polka dot pores, and I don't know if maybe I just need a little bit more. It's sunk into the pores, but it's not like on top of the skin. So let me just build it up a little bit and see if I can fix that. I actually expected that to go a lot better. I'm having an iced matcha homemade this afternoon. What are you all drinking? I don't have a brand new concealer, but I have a newish concealer, and I don't think I've ever showed it on my channel. So this is the Physicians Formula Butter Glow Concealer. I can't remember who influenced me to try this, but I decided that I would. Unfortunately, the shade that I have is very light and a little bit yellow, but we're going to make the best of it. The shade is fair to light, so I'm going to use what I put on there and just dab my ring finger in and dab that on. It is a very thin consistency concealer, more like a serum consistency. And sometimes that's kind of nice on aging under eyes. Sometimes I want a little bit more coverage than that kind of a consistency gives. So for this one, I'm going to let it sit for just a few seconds before I go in and blend it completely in order to get a little more coverage. And this e.l.f. Putty Bronzer Brush actually makes a really good concealer brush. If you've been around for a while, you know that I am involved in community theater and that we just wrapped our fall musical. It is always kind of a shock to the system the first week after a show when you don't have rehearsals 3 times a week and you're sitting at home and it's like 7 o'clock and you look around and you're like, what am I going to do with all my time? It fills up quickly. It doesn't last long. But that first week without rehearsals is a little bit of a shock. I'm going to use just a little bit more. And then so I don't get that reverse raccoon effect, I'm going to use the sponge and I'm going to try not to blend too much of the brush side, but I do need to blend that concealer a little bit. And lest you think I'm sitting around with absolutely nothing to do, I actually am in a show coming up on Friday the 25th. It's kind of a quick put together thing. We haven't had a ton of rehearsals. It's 2 one-acts for the Halloween season and it's a one night only. But next week is going to be busy with that because we have a rehearsal on Wednesday and Thursday and then the show's on Friday. I am also involved in the Nutcracker, which will be happening in December. I was only going to do a portion of the choreography for that one. I choreograph and teach the battle scene. And one of the party moms that was cast had to drop out. So the director asked if I would stand in for this party mom. So looks like I'm going to be in the Nutcracker after all. I think that that did a pretty good job covering my dark circles and it doesn't look creasy. I received some friend mail from Darlene and she tossed in this little Ulta Beauty tinted eye primer. And so I wanted to give that a try. It's not even open yet. One of my very favorite eye primers is the Ulta Beauty Matte Eye Primer and really like that. So I'm interested to try this one. Oh, okay, maybe not. It is really, really glowy. I didn't expect that. It's kind of pink and glowy. I don't think I want to do that today. I don't see anywhere on here that there is a shade or any indication that this is a glowy eye primer. So that's going to have to wait for another day. Unfortunately, it's all over my hands. So instead, let's go back to that Ulta Matte Eye Primer. Definitely not a new product, but I do like it a lot. As you can see, it does have a tint to it, so it does kind of help to hide the discoloration and veining that I have on my eyelids, but it also helps to make your eyeshadow last longer. And while that sets, I'm going to do my brows. I have a new brow product, and this is from the Billion Dollar Beauty Company, and it's Billion Dollar Brows. It's just a micro brow pencil, and the shade is Blonde. So I'm going to give that a try. I have a lot of flakiness right now on my face, and I'm not really sure why. So if you're seeing a lot of skin flakes, I'm confused because my skin is oily and yet I have dry patches. So I do work outside the home part-time, and I am the executive director for our small town community theater, and I do a little bit of everything. Okay, this is a stiff brow pencil, and when they're so stiff that you have to press hard to get them to show up, then they tend to break, and that's what just happened. So now it's a little bit scratchy. Anyway, I do a little bit of everything: marketing, customer service, grant writing, building maintenance, or at least calling people to do things to maintain the building, graphic design, kind of you name it. If it needs to be done, I'm kind of the go-to person for it. And I have been doing that job now for 5 years come November. I can't believe it's been 5 years. But the board surprised the heck out of me at this last show. Normally when the show ends and we've taken our bows, the cast leaves down the stairs of the stage, goes out the front of the building, and then people can say hello, you can greet your family, that kind of stuff. It's community theater, so we're available for the community to say hello. Well, Friday night of the second weekend, as we were getting ready to go down the stairs, one of the cast members gave one of these and said, "No." And I was like, oh, okay, well, I thought maybe they were going to be giving the directors their gifts. Usually we do that at the cast party, but I thought, okay, by the way, I really enjoy this shade of eyebrow pencil. And other than it breaking because I had too much out and I pressed too hard, after I rolled out just a little bit instead of a bigger piece, I had no trouble with it. So, not bad. I know a lot of times you can find these $1 billion brow pencils at like TJ Maxx and Marshalls. I see them there a lot. This was in the care package from Cindy, by the way. So I was standing there expecting that they were going to call the directors, the choreographer, that sort of thing up on stage and give them their gift. Instead, the board president, who was also in the show, he was Robin Hood, starts talking, and I hear my name coming out of his mouth. I don't have a new blush, bronzer, or highlight, so I'm just going to use things that are in my Out the Door in 24 basket to get a little use out of them. This is the Laura Geller Beach Matte Baked Hydrating Bronzer in Siesta Medium. I'm not sure that this is available on the site anymore, but that's okay. I'm just going to, again, put this across the tops of my cheeks, just warm my complexion up a little bit. So anyway, like I said, I heard my name coming out of his mouth, and my initial thought was, what did I do? Because I was just a cast member in the show. I was not a director, choreographer. I mean, yes, I helped with, yes, I did costuming, but that wouldn't be something that I would be recognized for on stage. So I could not figure out what was going on. And so I went over, and he proceeded to say that it was my 5-year anniversary and the board appreciated my work and gave me this gorgeous bouquet of flowers. I'll put a picture of it up there. They're starting, all of the lilies were buds at the time, and so it's been a week. They've all opened up, and some of them have started to drop their petals, but the roses and the other flowers in there are still just gorgeous. And they gave me a bonus. For blush, I'm going to use this Essence Mosaic blush in All You Need Is Pink. It is the Never Ending blush. I've been using this all year. I still haven't hit pan on the darn thing. Anyway, it was just so nice to have my work recognized and to feel appreciated. It was a really stressful run up to the opening of the show because the fall musical is the opening of our new season, and we were implementing a new ticketing system. And so there were just a lot more moving parts And so it was just really nice to, like I said, be recognized and have my work appreciated. I haven't actually been using much highlighter lately, and I don't know why, but I think I'm going to go ahead with the ColourPop Flexitarian and just put a little on. It is 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, and I have absolutely nowhere to go. So I won't be wearing this makeup for very long. Unfortunately, I won't be able to really do a wear test on the IT Cosmetics foundation. I'll wear it again a couple of times before I put this video up, and I'll be able to update that information in a pinned comment or something like that. Boy, I tell you what, when you don't wear highlighter for a while and then you put it back on again, it seems like a lot. So I'm going to blend a little bit more. And I'm going to take the sides of my hair down. There's no reason, now that I've got my foundation on, I don't need to worry about getting foundation in my hair. And I think I am going to go ahead and powder before I do my eyes. That way, if there's any fallout, it'll be easier to brush that away. And I am going to use, this Moira Set and Correct in 200 under my eyes. This is my favorite under eye powder. That Physicians Formula concealer dried down really well. There's a little tiny creasing right up under my eye, so I'm going to tap that out before I put any powder on. But not much. And I'm sorry, but if you have lines and creases under your eyes, your concealer is going to crease, especially as it's setting down. You do need to make sure that before you powder, you go in and tap that out. Otherwise, when you powder over it, you have just set all those creases in and they're going to stay there all day. Next up in my rotation for regular powder is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Setting Powder. This is the light pink version, and I think it's really brightening on my skin tone. I hope that if you are in a part of the world where you have seasons, that you are enjoying this beautiful fall weather that we're having here. Last week, 1 week ago on Saturday, it was 90 degrees still. And then Sunday, a fresh breeze came in and it has been gorgeous all week long. Sunshine, not a cloud in the sky, temperatures in the 30s to 40s at night and 50s to 60s during the day. And just a breeze. It's been gorgeous. Had windows open and just really enjoying this fall. The leaves are starting to change and it is just beautiful fall weather. Sometimes where I live, let me get this palette open. Sometimes where I live, we don't get a long spring and a long fall. We have a long winter, a few weeks of spring, hot summer, a couple weeks of fall, and then back to winter. But we are really having a nice fall. So I hope you are too. The palette that I'm going to use is from Wet n Wild. I have wanted this palette for a really, really long time. This is the Always Blushin' version of this palette, and I've heard really, really good things about it. And I got some friend mail from Darlene. Thank you, Darlene, so very much. She sent this palette, that eye primer that I showed you, and also this one from the Creme Shop that you should be able to tell by the way it looks that I have been using that one too. But this one I've been saving for you all. And it's just a beautiful, neutral, leaning towards the rosy tones. And I'm excited to use it because I've heard really good things about it. It does have a glitter, and I probably won't ever use that shade because I do wear contacts. I have gotten glitter under my contacts, and it is not an experience I wish to repeat, ever. You guys, I have been washing my brushes. I have them almost all done, and I have way more brushes than any one person should have. But I like having a lot of brushes because I don't want to have to wash them all the time. However, I have clean brushes and I'm very excited about it. I'm going to take a fluffy brush and this ivory shade here at the top, and I am going to put that on my lids from crease to brow bone to set my eye primer. And I have mentioned this many times, but if you're new here, you haven't heard me say it. The reason I do this is twofold. One, it does set the primer. And two, it helps to provide a base for blending. And the eye primer is tacky. You want your shimmers and that sort of thing to stay where you put them. But a transition shade, a crease shade, you want to be able to blend it. And so I put this above the crease and it provides a base for blending. I don't talk much about being a Nana on my channel, but I do have one grandbaby. She just turned a year old in August, and being a Nana is amazing. If you don't have any grandkids, you need to go out and get some because they're fabulous. But she is just so much fun. And I love when she comes over and I can watch her because I will just sit the entire time she's here and play with her and focus on her. And that's not something that you could do when your kids were small because you still had to do the dishes and clean the house and cook the food and all of that stuff. But when they only come over once in a while, all of that stuff can wait and you can just really be in the moment. And it's just such a beautiful thing. Yesterday, I actually went over to my son and daughter-in-law's house. I do that sometimes and play with the baby so that my daughter-in-law can get some things done around the house. I think, let's go. I think I do want to go into the rosy tones. So I'm going to use this one for my transition shade instead of any of those browns or mustardy tones. Okay, there is a lot of kick up in the pan with this. So I am going to tap some of that off. Wow, that's a very dusty shade. And I'm going to just kind of, I don't know if it's the brush I'm using or the shadow itself, but wow, that was a lot of dusty shadow there. Anyway, so I go over and I watch the baby so that she can get things done around the house, but isn't away from her. Another day, she does work a couple days out of the home. So when I got there, they were outside and the baby wanted to go for a walk. So I said, well, I'll take her. And so I put her in her stroller and I just walked around town with her. And it was just so precious. There was still a Halloween display up from the fall festival last week. And so I got her out of the stroller and we played around a little bit and I took some pictures and just, I live in a small town, so when people drive by, they wave at you and stuff. And it was just really, really special. And again, the day was just gorgeous. And as we were going along on the sidewalk, it was kind of bumpy. And so we'd go down the ramp into the street to cross over a street. And I'd say bump, bump. And she'd go bump, bump. It was just precious. So anyway, all right, I've gone on and on enough about my grandbaby. I am one of those grandmas that I will pull out my phone and say, oh, look, when in the old days, it was the accordion fold thing you pull out of your wallet with all the pics of your grandkids. And now it's the digital phone with hundreds of them. Yeah, that's me. And I know that I am blessed that my kids and grandbaby live just a couple of miles from my house and that I get to see them as often as I do. Let's see what's next. How about this one down here? Is that? That's kind of a satiny shade. But I don't really want to go into the one next to it because it's a little more brick. I think I'll use this one here and see if I can deepen this up a little bit. I'm afraid it might pull it a little warm, but I'm not sure what else to use. I'll do that on the other side just so that they're the same, but it's not what I wanted. So I am going to go into this deep plum down here and just see what happens. Okay, it looks it's that deep. Why is it not showing up on my eyes? Maybe I'm not using the right kind of brush for it. Okay, there it is. Unfortunately, it looks more black than it looks plum. Huh, you guys, what did I do? I'm gonna put a little of that light color over it to plumify it back up again. Sometimes there's benefits in tutorials that go wrong too, because then you can see how to fix it. That's what I'm telling myself anyway. I'm going to pinch that brush and just drag that under the lower lash line a little bit. All right, I am going to go into this shimmer right here with my ring finger and put that on my eyelid, pretty much the whole thing. Not sure I like that dark shadow that I put on there. I feel like my eyes look bruised. It's not a great tone for me. And I'm going to go into this sparkly lighter shade right there and put that on the inner portion to lighten this all up because it feels like it's gotten really dark. I'm going to use a brush for this one so that I have a little bit better control over where I place it. I'm feeling this one is going to leave glitter all over my face. Let's spray that. Okay, we're going to trust the process and believe that when I get mascara and liner and stuff on, this is going to look better because right now I'm not really happy with it. It kind of looks dirty and muddy and not really all that pretty. I'm using a little more of the light shade from up here. I'm not sure it's helping, but I'm not sure it's helping. Wow. Okay, that might help. I am taking a little bit more of this shade right here and just kind of going over that purple because that was not a good tone on me. Okay, I feel like maybe I still don't like it. I feel like maybe if I put mascara on and eyeliner, it will be okay. I'm going to use black eyeliner because I don't think brown would look very good with these tones. For mascara, Prime Promedics sent me some mascaras to try, and I'm not going to say a whole lot about them yet because the idea for me was to try them and see if it's something that I want to do a video on in the future, but I might as well put them on my eyes and see what I think here, right? It's a very pretty tube, this light blue, and it is supposed to be a tubing formula. We'll see what they do. I think it also has some like lash enhancing properties in it in the formula. So yeah, Prime Promedics is a pro-aging company. They do make products for mature women, and so I like that for sure. But before I agree to work with the company, I do want to see if I like the product. And I do think that it did a really good job separating the lashes. And I can't look up when my lashes are wet because then it touches my eyelid and makes a mess. I do feel like it did a good job on one coat. I'm going to go ahead and put 2 coats on both eyes. I'll be right back. Oh, that was satisfying. For lips, I have heard Jen Phelps raving about these Maybelline lifter liners. I love the lifter glosses. And so when she was talking about these and how much she liked them, I decided I wanted to try them. And so I got 2 shades. I got Fine Line and Out of Line. And I thought one was a little more burgundy. This one is Fine Line. I don't know what I got on my sleeve. And this one is Out of Line. And it's a little bit more of a brown nude. And so I thought if I got these 2 shades, that could be pretty versatile with whether I go with a more brown coral nude or a mauvey pinky nude. So I think today with this look, the mauvey one is going to be the way I want to go. So it is very creamy. After I get my lips on, I'm going to take a closer look at this foundation, see what it's doing. I'm not going to use a lipstick today. I'm just going to use a lip oil. So I am kind of filling in with this. And this is nice to fill in with because it's creamy. It doesn't really tug, but it feels like it's going to set down and be pretty long lasting. And then also, I think Jen Phelps influenced me on this one, but the Milani Fruit Fetish Lip Oil. I had a heck of a time standing there at the display just trying to decide which one I wanted to try because they all sounded delicious. Not that you're supposed to eat them, but they do smell like the fruits that are on the label. So I settled on 130 Raspberry Peach. It is a little bit tinted, but let's be honest, when these are on your lips, you don't see that slightly pink tint at all. I have used this once, and I do agree it is a really nice lip oil formula. It's kind of thick and glossy, but it is not sticky in the slightest. And it smells so good. This raspberry peach is really nice. And I just went to wipe that off my hand, and they don't wipe off, not with just a tissue. I do have a makeup wipe here, so let's see how that goes. Even with a makeup wipe, I'm having to rub pretty good to get that off, so they should be pretty long lasting. I went to fix my hair and took a second to really look at my skin in my 10x mirror, and from a distance, this makeup looks fine. Up close is another story altogether, and I don't think I can get the camera to pick up what I'm seeing, but it has gathered in my mouth wrinkles right here, and then also I have just kind of some little fine lines right here, and it is settled on both sides, brush and sponge, into those wrinkles. I never get settling in those little wrinkles right there. I do in the corners of my mouth. No big deal. I tap it out. Usually it's not an issue anymore. But to have these lines right here accentuated, that's odd. It's also creased like right here on my nose. And then, like I said, I have some dry patches today, which I don't know why, but it's really kind of accentuated them on my nose. I had really high hopes for this foundation, especially for a $47 foundation. I expected better. Now, maybe if I use a hydrating primer and that kind of stuff, it will set better on my face, but it claims that it has a primer included. So you're not supposed to need one. And then this eyeshadow palette. I don't know, you guys. I struggled. I think it turned out okay in the end. I do still have a little bit of mascara where my eyelashes touched and it doesn't want to come off. Normally, when you let it dry, you can just kind of flake it off. This does not want to come off. But I just don't feel like these tones are flattering on my skin tone, and I'm not really sure why, because normally this would be my jam. I'm going to try the more neutrals in there and see if those work better for me, but otherwise I may end up passing that along to somebody else. I don't feel like the shadows perform badly. I just don't feel like the tones of them look good on my skin, if that makes sense. So I'm not saying it's a bad palette. I'm just saying that those shades, for some reason, did not set well on my skin. The other products that I tried today, however, I'm kind of loving. This concealer, I think, looks good under my eyes. I might like it better if it was one shade deeper, but it's not bad the way it is because it is such a light formulation that it does kind of sheer out more, but also at the same time, I think it did a pretty good job covering my under eye circles. So maybe that little bit of a yellow tone did a little color correcting as well. So not bad. These lip liners I do really like. I can see myself using them a lot. I have two of the lifter glosses, one of them in Moon and one in Stone. And I think if you used the more mauve toned one with the Moon or the more neutral one with the Stone, I think they would be beautiful. So I'm definitely going to try that in the coming days. The $1 Billion Brow, yeah, I like that a lot. I'm about out of my other brow pencil, so this came just in the nick of time. I won't have to buy a brow pencil now. The Fruit Fetish Lip Oil, I really, really like it. It smells good. It even tastes good. Sometimes a scented lip product, well, you can smell it, but you won't taste it. This one you can actually taste the raspberry peach as well. You might not like that, but I kind of do. And then the other new product that I tried was the Prime Chromatic Lashes. And I think that it did a good job giving me a really natural looking lash. It did separate really well, gave some volume. Not sure it did a whole lot on length, but I like the lash that I have right now. I will update in a pinned comment on how it was for removal. It is supposed to be a tubing formula, so we'll see if it comes off with just warm water. What do you guys think about this eyeshadow? Am I just being too picky? I hope you had fun with this chatty get ready with me, hearing about what's going on in my life lately, maybe getting to know me a little better. I had fun doing it, even if I didn't love everything I put on my face. That's the way it goes sometimes. I'm going to let YouTube decide what it thinks would be a great video for you to watch. Let me know down in the comments if YouTube got it right. I hope you have a beautiful, blessed day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.